CPA exam, I think it's important to assess how you operate as an individual test taker before you try and outline the way in which you take a test. Trying to do something in line with your peer group or your friends is not always the best idea because, like I said, you'll perform best on each part of the exam if you cater it to how you perform as a student.
You don't have to feel like you have to, first day as an accounting student, you need to go up there and pick up the business concepts book and start diving into it as if like you're taking the test tomorrow. But from a content standpoint, I would kind of familiarize yourself with it because as I go back to time management, what tends to happen is, I've been fortunate with my scheduling that I've only had one class the last 2 quarters, so I've been able to budget school and CPA. But CPA is going to take a lot of your time. You're going to need to dedicate probably about 5 to 6 hours a day.
I would highly recommend using a test prep software. There's so many options out there, and a lot of the firms will pay to support you in that. So that's a big one. I think having realistic expectations of yourself and when you're going to prepare, saying, okay, I think I need like a month and a half to prepare for this. Understanding, again, it's kind of like that time management thing. If you're 75% of the way through the material and you know it's a week away from the test, you may want to consider rescheduling your test, and that's okay.
So I studied with classes and kind of treated it like a class was really how I did my first 2 sections. The section I did in the fall was FAR, Financial Accounting and Regulation, and it's a big one. It's a big section. It's basically all of intermediate accounting wrapped up into one test. And I was taking 12 credits to finish my senior year, and I did it with it. And I treated it like a class, and it was a little harder because I think you were a little distracted just by your friends being back and extracurriculars, and you were in the library a lot. But the other good news is most other of your accounting friends are going to be going through it too. And I think that camaraderie that you've built with them already, the fact that you're all doing this again together is, it makes it go a little easier. It's a little easier to swallow when you've got friends doing it too.
Speaking from my own experience, I knew that cramming it all into like a 2-month period was not going to be the best option. I knew that would result in me being far too overwhelmed for a 2-month period of time, and I just didn't think I would absorb the information and test well in that way. So I allowed myself to take it over a period from May to November, and I really spaced it out. I set myself up on a schedule so that each week, Monday through Friday, I kind of had the same plan. I would study for 5 hours, take a break, study for 1 to 2 hours more. That was it. I maxed out at about 6 hours a day, unless it was the week prior to the test, in which case it's cram week, and that everyone should probably take that very seriously. But to me, that worked the best because it allowed me to still incorporate a lot of the regular activities like exercise, friends. Maintaining some normalcy to my schedule was crucial in me retaining the information.
The biggest thing with it is you cannot blow it off. You've got to sit down and do the work, just like anything else. And people have all different kinds of study methods. A lot of people put themselves on a really strict plan. That was too high stress for me. I needed to be a little more flexible. So I didn't need the motivation, really. It was very easy for me to motivate myself to get up and go study. But so I did it basically whenever I had a free moment. I just sat down with note cards or the book or something just to go over it and look over it. And then the couple weekends before you do you do a few big days in the library of a lot of review. And if you can say to yourself when you walk into the test room on test day, I have done everything I can to be prepared for this, then you've succeeded. Even if you fail the exam, at least you can say to yourself, I did everything I could, and you just had a bad test day. And you can retake it, and it's not the end of the world.
It is a stressful time, but I think if you assess it ahead of time and set up a schedule and really do your best to stick to it and set goals on a weekly basis of this is what I want to accomplish in this week, I think that's the best way to go about it. You want to manage it just like you would anything else in life.
If for most people, there's a huge bonus that comes after passing the CPA exam. It gets smaller as time goes on, so passing it within the first year, you're going to get the biggest bonus. I think for most people, financial benefits are big. Another thing is you just have better access to jobs. I mean, as you move up in your career, depending on where you start, you just become more qualified. It's just like having a master's degree at the end of your name. It's just like having an MBA at the end of your name. It's another 3 letters that go after your name that make your resume pop out.
It was, going to really strengthen my resume. It would allow me to be promoted in the firm if I chose to stay there. It gives you credibility as a professional in general. And even if I plan to go on and, become an event planner or something else, having that behind your name people still see accountants as a very credible profession along with lawyers and doctors, which I don't know that I realized going into the program, but it's a truly very credible position to have. And it's a very old profession and people really respect it. And I think having that CPA after your name is like having doctor in front of your name.
No, I think CPA is definitely commendable. It's more than just the FASB makes you get it or your firm makes you get it. It should be something that you're ultimately driven to do, because it is kind of a reflection on your education, because everything that you do get out of the education here will be on that exam.
It really, truly does offer you a credential that carries a ton of weight in the professional world. Your degree is hugely important, but having that certification, that uniform certification that is a nationwide bar that has been set, is something that you can't replace with a degree alone. And so I think it just opens the doors for possibilities. And I would hate for that to be misconstrued as only possibilities in accounting. Having a CPA can carry you in other areas of business as well. It can oftentimes be something that allows you to get the foot in the door with an opportunity and then allows you to kind of take the direction of your career that you want. But it's crucial in that first step.